Oof. Ooh, is that my ending? Wow, that was so fun. Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are taking a look at (G)I-DLE's Oh My God, their music video, dance practice, and special choreography video. I've been marathoning this group out of celebration of watching Queendom and their time on it, so I'm very intrigued on seeing their own discography and how they develop as a group at this point post Queendom. So this is going to be really fun. Let's go ahead and check it out. Graphics cool. Ooh. I'm assuming we've also entered into the pandemic times. Wow. Wow. I'm liking this era a lot on this group. Yeah. She and I's got repping the same hair right now. Look at her go. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It kind of feels like we've taken, you know, some really dope elements that we saw in Lion, and we're seeing it a little bit here. And some of the formation and tension setups they have here. I like it. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Reminds me of their very first challenge and how they switched up La Ta Ta, doesn't it? Woof. Ooh, is that my ending? Wow, that was so fun. I really liked that. Okay, we have a choreography version of Heaven. That's cool. So I'm assuming that's what makes it special, is that it's kind of the opposite of what the intention of kind of it's supposed to come across as. This one feels more fun. So cute! That was cute. headband, bless it. I like the little orange tips on the end of her hair. That's cute. This stuff, so much tension, like freaking butter on this bad boy. Ooh. Cute. Cute, that's cute. There you go, atta girl. Yeah, the dancers really do make it such a vibe. But this is cute. That's cute. With the feathers, she sang with it. That's cute. Oh, I love the laughter. That was really cute. I enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with that. Okay, music video. Here we go. Ready. Oof. That's cool with the dancer visual right there. That was so fascinating. Like, the music video was, there's so many different textile visuals, you know, like rolling in mud, wine. Felt like one of them was going into a insane asylum. Like, that was so fascinating and definitely intrigued me immensely. So it actually, I find it fun, you know, that they did like an angel version. I was expecting more like an evil kind of interpretation, which it wasn't quite evil. It definitely felt like we went on a journey through different different depths of self, if that kind of makes sense. It kind of felt like that, and maybe it was because of the projection of the asylum being drug away in the beginning, if that makes sense. Like, this is so interesting. Man, I was not expecting that at all, but I love being pleasantly surprised sometimes, and definitely extending the same sentiment here in this case. I really like what they ended up doing with the bleed around in this choice. It's just really fun. It does remind me of who is it? Didn't On and Off do that for Buy My Monster with like a really cool, dope graphic? I think it's cool when you have people in their dance practices, they apply that much intention in the cinematic perspective as you would in a music video. But then also I sometimes just like that nitty gritty, shiny dance practice with your hair however you want. You know, like, I like the beauty in both, but I digress. From the top here, really cool. Da 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 da, very chant oriented. It does remind me very much of the La Ta Ta remix from Queendom, but in like a very, but just on a different niche of brand, but it does feel on brand for G-Idle, which I think is really dope. It also, I feel like we are starting a bit off center, is what it just looks like to me, but I like how we're all intentional looking up at the sky as we expand our hand upwards. Really cool. And we make it nice and subtle, and then we're still looking and allowing our body to be influenced by our arm choice. I like that. Great usage of the upper back on that. The dancers, oh my God, the commitment from them, from Lion, top tier. Here, extend the same courtesy. Whoever hired these dancers, God, keep them around. I love the commitment. Probably some of my favorite groups of dancers I have seen that give such a performance without taking away from the members. I think somebody on Patreon commented that on one of the videos, and I wholeheartedly agree. That's very hard to do, where you have your dancers so committed, just like your members, but they don't take away from the members, you know, which means the members have to commit to that same degree as well, which is so cool. And it makes me just want to be invested in it, right? And that's why we're here. I love it. Notice, ooh, with that, where they take their head, and then notice they make that head a fixed point, and they lean their body back, and they're using their arms to kind of grab the base of their ankles. Really dope choice there. Then it creates a fun, like, blooming onion effect, or like a lotus flower effect. Really cool. And then they lean it away. Really cool. It does kind of feel like we're, I mean, if we're going off of the insane asylum vibe, then it kind of feels like we're kind of falling within our subconscious. It kind of sounds like that in tone. So I feel like if there's theories out there that justify that, that would make sense. I did dive into Reddit just a smidge, and there were some theories entertained in that way, so that's what I'm gleaning off of. But I like where they take the hands, lead it up with the head. Really nice. There's a lot of this choice, a lot of these choices where our head really matters in focal point, hence why I'm kind of getting and gleaning more of that. It's more mental in a lot of these choices, which I think is super cool. And then right there you have our dancers. They bleed their energy up with their hands, and then you have G-Idle kind of doing their own thing. Really nice to have their hands out. Dancers are still on the ground. Love that with the arch. It's such an interesting pose choice where they go and they hold it up, and then they go and reset nice and quick on the accent, and then you have your first feature. Bum, 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 bum. So it's definitely right there on the track. Bow, bow. It has like this deceptive mystery vibe about it, if that kind of makes sense. Low key, I mean, it does sound like, you know, I could hear Mama Moo be vibing with this kind of piano BPM vibes in this section. It kind of feels a little like that, but not I like it. I really like it, honestly. And I like how the dancers are showcasing a different level so we can really clearly see our members, which is nice. Then we go through nice chest size though on this. Good job on range and the rotation of it. Looks great. Your dancers, they're low. They're committed to the ground. Really nice. And then from here, our dancers bleed it up at the crown of the head. And then you have our members be pulled by the back of their spine, creating a really nice tense trace up the arm with the hand. Really love that. And the hand that they're doing, that they're bringing it up with, matches the type of claw-like hand that you see our dancers bring up in a little snaking influence. Really cool. And then from there, they take it and just throw it around. I love it. And then you have the subtlety of your members still here in play. Once again, really like the fact that we have dancers delegated in the back because it feels more full that way. Definitely a fan of that. Really enjoy seeing that. Selfish. Yeah, cool. And your dancers are all facing the inside, and then our members are facing outside. Love it. Subtle contrast, but still very clear to see who our feature is. And then we step back. Boom, boom. Really like that with the sharpness of the head to reset. Really great there. Then the dancers all go, boom, throw their hands, members included, except for your feature. She takes it and brushes it as a moment. She and I have good taste in hairstyles. I'm just telling you right now. My hair is about to change, though. So stick around. You'll probably, though, there's a chance you'll see it changed before this comes out onto YouTube, but I digress. Patreon, you'll notice, but anyway, but I like this. I like that we match ever so slightly. You see this little tease of the hips from our outside members. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't feel seductive. It does feel, I mean, well, I would say it's teasy, but not in like a sensual, sexual way at all. It really doesn't feel that way. It feels like, da-da, like we're really just riding how she's hitting the pitch. Like I kind of like that. She's holding her note. It's nice. Da-da. She goes and she bleeds it down the neck. Cool. Then she takes it. Do-do-do-do. She ends up isolating that ever so slightly, which I think is so freaking dope. Yeah, that really sold it for me for her on that feature. I'm glad she hit it there. And then our dancers shoot out nice and strong. Diddy. I really like the percussion build up. And then this is really nice too because we can see all of our members. No one's being covered up. Yay, I always love it because I always feel just like, honestly, just like I know that every member is a bias to someone, right? That's why a lot of times when I do choreography, I kind of go really in depth through all of it, not just on really big focal points, because there's some people that want information on just the regular structure of the subtlety of a section versus the contrast of something really big or your typical focal point, or talking about a logistic of the room, you know. There's some people that prefer that. That's their biased kind of methodology behind listening to choreography analysis. And some people just want the reaction and we move on, you know? So honestly, how I structure my analysis is similar to the expectations of when I look at an even number group. I want to be able to see all the members, just like all the choreography deserves to shine and be seen, because just because a certain part of the choreo is my favorite doesn't mean it's somebody else's favorite. And somebody else's favorite part could be a part that I could very easily glean over if I didn't go so in depth on choreo analysis, right? So that's why I do structure the way that I do, because I feel that some people, I want everybody to be able to appreciate all of it, not just the parts that most of the time normally get looked at, like the big wow moments. All of it's a wow moment if you know what to look for. It's kind of my end note. But going back to here, I like seeing all of our members. There are a couple times where I feel that we could have made a slightly different choice in who we put in the back and maybe putting them in the front with the same level, and it would have come across the same with your feature. But I think that only happened once, so we'll talk about it when we get there. But I do like that. Very clear to see everyone and very nice to see our feature. She definitely has a great stage presence about her. I love that she pulls forward. Of course, you saw one of them commit to one side. Does it feel balanced? Honestly, it looks fine to me. Because of how the movement is structured, you can placate it to more rotational because they're all looking away. So the commitment, you're really just focusing on your feature going to the front. And then you have the fullness of our dancers. It definitely feels symmetrical, but there is an arm from our front former feature, Soyeon, that it can throw off a slight deviation in balance, but I don't think that's a priority here. And you don't have to focus on it as much. But I like taking it through, boom, boom, expanding it over, taking a more stoic approach, but still building the energy with our members, our dancers taking responsibility and going super full. Super, super full. Love that. Boom, boom, boom. I like that choice. Of course, I feel like this could be a smidgen cleaner on what the wrists are doing in that moment from our front members. But then having our dancers go, they branch it around, turn it into an add-on. I really love that, getting the members and the dancers together. And then they take that hand and make it a fun moment out of that. Then they go nice pulse out of it too. 1, 2, 3. Really like that as well. Bringing it in and bump, bump, bump. Really like that as well. Click, 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 click. Really nice. Once again, showcasing great levels here. Love it. Pull in. Great. Then this right here does remind me a smidgen of Lion. Just like I think there was another kind of, any type of connection that they make with dancers and Collins just reminds me of that. But I love this kind of archway that's making them feel like a peekaboo over the top. And they're grabbing hands and they're reaching forward. Really dope. With their head is what I meant. They're leaning forward with their head, not their hands. And then they drop back. You have your members. Good job. Ding, 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 ding. They take their hands up to the corner. They switch it through. Boom. I do think they're doing kind of an accent, like a strike into an overhead finish of some kind. Then they take the arms. They drop it down. Oh my God. This is the first time you're hearing the chorus. So it's like, it's got to be impactful, which it is. Dancers drop down nice and low. And then it opens up the commitment. All the different, subtly different directions is so freaking sick. It's amazing. Love it. Then they hit it, boom, boom. Does remind me once again of Lion. So I feel like there's some overlap here in either like the movement direction, the choreographer, and the dancers. I feel like there's a lot of that. I don't mind it. I like it. It's on brand. It's such a vibe. Such a vibe. And I like that the dancers bleed it all the way down. You have really nice accent moments happening from your members. And I like how they frame it, and it really matches how the dancers commit to the floor. Super fun. They click, click, and then sky. Really cool. And I love this little hip accent that Soyeon's doing. And they're all taking it and angling it to the corners, which makes it really nice and framed oh so beautifully. And then your dancers are still committed, and they take their arms up as our members switch to a different spot. Oh my, and then we bounce out of it, which is cool. The dancers switch it through, and then they're melting from outside down while you have your members really take that head back. I'm curious, in this case, does she go like, oh, like I think she could technically hold a note there. And then right there, there's a subtlety with the head. And then, of course, your feature is right there in the center. Everybody else has bent. They've been that inside knee to really make it a fun rotation. And they arch that back ever so slightly. Dancers are still nice and low. Do I feel like maybe we're kind of entertaining this particular level representation from our dancers a smidgen too long? It didn't bother me as much because of just how the track sounds and how the movement complements it. There's a lot of different types of textures explored. So I personally don't think it's really that big of an issue. Because we do entertain other elements moving forward. So nothing crazy there. I like that the dancers are going the opposite direction. Well, actually, no, I don't think they are going the opposite direction. Everyone's doing the same thing. I like that, but I think the leans are different. Let me see what's happening. Yeah, so the members are going, same arms, but I like this. So the members are going... Their bodies aim stage left. Our dancers are aiming their bodies stage right, but it's the same arms. So the unison upper body with a different lower body. And so it creates a fun, you know, little different dynamic effect, but oh, so fun and intriguing in how it comes across. I really, really like this. That's super, super dope. And I like the little bounces out of that, and then having your member be a nice subtle feature. Everyone else is still. Having the dancers involved in that bounce was also really fun to see too. That little boom boom really quick to reset. Cool. And now your dancers, bless their knees. I hope they had knee pads or something in the practice of this. So now you have a new feature. I like the subtlety of the chest. Everybody's complimenting it towards your frame. Of course, levels. Then we peel it. Nice little ripple with the running arm. Gotcha. They take it, they reflip over, showcase a fun accent using the wrist to create a nice stylized hand. I'm here for it. The pull in looks really nice, and then they switch it out. And then there's your body roll happening right here. I love the commitment from our dancer. It really does feel like she's kind of like I don't know, trying to quiet her subconscious or something. The dancer plays some form of role in the manipulation that's taking place. She's trying to take ownership of it. I love it. That's so freaking cool. What the imagery is, don't quite know. I think we're still in the conspiracy theory phase. I could be completely lying to you and that's resolved, but I digress. I really love what's happening with our dancers. We're looking away, we're framing away. Do I think the spacing on this is a smidgen off and we can't really see what's going on here? Yes, I would say my dancer needs to scoot over ever so slightly so we can appreciate that, but nothing crazy. And I like my group of 5 that's happening behind her to make it to where you have somebody that's also layered in the center, but she's not the focal point because we have this whole energy going on with our dancer and our feature, and then everybody else is facing towards the inside. I love the opposition of the structure where you have your members facing inside, your dancers facing outside, you have a level represented up, you have a member that's being featured, and she has an accent going on with the dancer. I love this setup right here so much. Very well done. The dancers now, the members go and face the back. Really nice choices. Bring up those arms to the hips. Then we explode and notice that complements what the dancers are doing so well, where everybody creates the same texture or dynamic as we bleed back into our particular pose. Way to freaking go on that. And then we bleed it over nice and well. And it goes, oh God, girl, okay. And I love the pull on that, really nice. And everybody's reaching, and notice it felt like a rush of energy where they kind of reinstated their hands, and it felt like we're transferring the energy of the hands all the way to the back because we had our members have an effect take place, right? It goes, oh God, going from back to front. Then they do it again, the boom, boom, boom. So I think they were letting their dun, dun, two, and then they pulse it with the chest again to reinstate and get those members up. Then they go explode. I love the subtlety, like what you want. And then you have a connection happening with some of our members that are looking all nice and stoic, like a family portrait. You know, it's kind of fun. And then she bleeds away. I love the symmetry of how she traced it down her face. That was nice. Our dancer is fully committed. Bless their backs and their knees for this. Woo! I also noticed that you had not just your feature, but you had 2 other members to complement. They pulled it back and then they reset it front to complement what those dancers were doing. That was a super dope section. Then we go and we crawl on their knees back to this V position. Bless them, get them up. Woof. But also, I mean, it does tie into the music video pretty well, where there was that whole section where one of our members was just nice, stoic, and covered in fabric, and you had all these dancers in these columns and an X formation. That was really cool. So having the sway here, the boom, nice stylized hands here, and then they go and bring it back. I like just the dynamics of how we're leaning in these choices. They're just fun, and there's always something interesting to look at, which is probably why it doesn't bother me as much as it normally would when I see dancers on a similar level in a similar formation the whole time and how they're framing the performers. That's just kind of my note, and I kind of still feel that way, that I wish we explored subtly different choices, but I like the clump action with that little reverberated wave. That was super dope. Not reverb, but like reinstated, like a rippled wave was cool. But as she hits it through, I like that with a little kick. They go to the inside, and notice now instead of it being just a straight V, we've now transitioned into a rotated, you know, spherical semicircle with the reaches. I like that. The fingerprints of the reach goes a long way. Really like that choice. Super dope. And she goes to da 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 da. Ooh, girl, say your share. And there's that tongue lick right there. I know she's known for that all through Queendom. I said my piece about it, and it does work well in this track. I will give it to her. The walkthrough, I love the promotion of that. The very marching, militant, but not so strict in the synchronicity to justify that. It does feel, you know, triumphant. It feels like we're hopeful in some way, shape, or form, but we're about to break down into like this little acid trip of a da, like a little siren sound, right? Kind of feels like that. Everybody's bringing their arms up. Then we take it dun 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 dun. So of course, my front middle, she's gonna be my feature for this. Everybody pulls. She's the only one who doesn't pull. Helps me keep clocking her there. The triple boom boom boom. I like the branch away from that. Then all my dancers kind of stumble to the inside to reset a nice frame, but notice they're not on their knees here. I appreciate that, you know. I like the fact that we're similar in level for this part, showing some depth, and then they are now more in a crouch position or a lunge position, and all of my ladies, my members, are a little bit higher, but not quite standing either. The pulse, boom, boom, boom. Now the tricky part there is it was a bit difficult to know who my feature was until this moment right here. So that would be my Note to her, I think she could have deviated a little bit more because she's coming from the back corner. Not back corner, back center. Just because you're in center doesn't mean I can find you. I really wasn't knowing who my feature was until I saw her deviate in this one moment. So she needed, I think, a different opportunity to navigate a little bit earlier would have helped me see her sooner so I could appreciate her feature more. But the dancers have now dropped back down. Bless it. Gosh, this is a freaking workout for them. Click, 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 click. Once again, new features into the chat. Love that. My God. And then they go, oh my God. And this part's really nice. It's different than the other time. This was like, ugh, like it feels like we have a stray jacket that we're like busting out of, or like a muzzle that we're opening up, you know. It's just kind of like that, like an acid trip party of what? Like, it's cool. And this one is a different course, and I really like that. And it helps separate, and we have familiarity in the formation. That's why it doesn't bother me, is because we're doing different choices in choreo most of the time. And so that's why the formation in the level of the dancers doesn't bother me, because we're not overly repeating to where it's becoming redundant. It doesn't, because we're developing and we're creating different visuals and angles and projections of our perspective with our dancers, and they're just framing it very effectively. Very well done. They come back up. Boom. Nice accent with the chest there. Then they hit it through. They're like, what? They're like, what? What? It's cool to reinstate that. And then they take it through, and then they bleed the energy up, similar to this, but they take it and they bring it up to the top. Really nice. Like the subtlety here. Boom, boom. I love that. And then they take those hands, moving them forward. Oh my. They go doo-doo, doo-doo. Nice drop out of that. And then the bleeds on this, and then you have your dancers look like they're collapsing, similar to a lot of our members and how they justified their perspective of the music video for their feature. So I like that overlap here in the choreography. Then you have your members bleed through. I like how they're all looking, and they're creating different angles with their head. Super cool. Dancers come back in, subtly frame their body towards the inside of their respective part of the line with the body roll. Nice. It does feel a bit off with our members, though. It feels like we're not quite representing this side over here. So I would actually have my girl right here move over just a smidge and have her in line with my girl right here. And that would make it feel just a little bit more symmetrical, more balanced. It feels a little bit heavy on the member representation on this side. And because we have a member literally right here, we could totally have, you know, we could have moved this girl out just a smidge. But I digress. It's so subtle. It's a dance practice, one take. We take what we can get. We love it. And this right here, and notice as they branch out, I like having that. Once again, the dancers have committed up. Our members just have their chin up. So those two things look different. A full commitment of my head up, it's going to cause more strain here. But if I have my chin up, it showcases a very different degree of confidence. It has like, they just look different. One is complete surrender. One is I want to watch. Does that make sense? It's kind of, it's different. It's subtle, but different. It's cool. And they go, and then our dancers, look, we've now created the X, and I love the fact that we did this, even though it's considered more small scale compared to the music video. God, it's really cool that we got to see this, though. Then you have your members. I love this. You have your feature. She's slowly down. She comes up. Easy way to do and showcase your feature. She's the only one on her level. Nice. Everybody else, our members are facing our dancers face our members. So I love the contrast. Kind of feels like a reflection almost of all of our different perspectives as people. I love the connection between what's going on. It's really cool. And then you have your feature in the center. Gosh, so freaking dope. Love it. Love it. And they take it through. Boom, boom, boom. And I feel like we're ending up bouncing it. Yeah, this bounce right here reminds me of what we ended up doing in the second half of the first course. So that's where you're getting fingerprint, like little drops of that throughout your track. I like the fact we didn't repeat it in the second course. We're repeating it here. So now it feels familiar, but it's different in structure because it's going on a different part of our music or different rhythmic pattern. So if we're rediscovering the move in a different vantage point and in a different way through our formations and through the directions in which we're doing it. Really fun. Yeah, I love how she sits into that. That's super cute. Definitely a fan of that. We take it over to the side. I like the bleed over. And some of these choices are low-key tricky to get everybody on the same page on in order to do well. So they're doing a fantastic job of really showcasing and proving that extensively. Definitely a fan of the cleanliness of the stylized hands to the direction of the head and the torso accordingly on the upper body. Because the lower body, they have to have, to some degree, their knees on the same page because that creates just as much of an impactful visual as their upper body. So the cleanliness is pretty good for how interesting the choreo is, because a lot of these sequences you normally don't have people do in unison in this way. It's nice. Bringing it through. I like this. Da-da-da, and they're bleeding it through. Yep, so they go and they connect right there on the base of the thigh. They come up and then they're sitting right back down. I really like that. They're all making their subtly own different choices. I like the individuality of that. This is what the part was. Okay, so notice we have a member right here. I personally think we could have had her right here and it would have been fine personally, but I understand why they have her back there. It's because the focal point is my feature, but also this visual of the X. And it would have been a bit harder to really see that if we did have somebody right here. So I respect the decision, but as somebody, if that was, let's say, if that was my bias and I was a fan of this group, I would have been a little sad to not see this individual for the entirety of the section. But that's just me though. Moving on from there, I like the accent here. I think I missed a couple things while I was talking about that. Like sitting in the hips, love that double boom, really clean, very crisp on that, matches the tone brilliantly. Then they all do that little hip dip to come up, similar to those two on the outside of the formation near the beginning, how they came up that time. There's a lot of those little overlaps. I like seeing it. It feels like we're connected the entire time in this choreo. And I like this across. Notice that it's similar to here. It's similar to here. So like we're taking ownership of the style of the hand, but we're placing it in different parts and we're representing it in a different way. And also our dancers, really clean way to get them into a really fun V. This is the first time we're seeing the dancers not in that, you know, framing near the front in some capacity. To me, that I'm remembering personally. I mean, if I look here, I'm just kind of getting, they're in the front. For most of this bad boy, they are in front of the members. And this is the first time I think they are not in front of them that I can see. If we're just doing like a very baby glean of this. Yeah, wild. That's why this feels so refreshing, is because you don't see the dancers there. You just see the members and you don't have anybody that's like, they're not being an obstruction or they're not being an obstacle per se, but that's why if this feels so different is that's why. It's because they're framed differently. That right there, that ding. Now, as much as I love how they hit it, I think they hit it a little too big for the sound. The sound is very distinct. Boom, you know. Now, is it a really big bell? Yes. I just feel like how they rebounded it was very full for the boom. I think just doing an accent with tension to come out of it would have read more on brand for how they set up the rest of the choreo compared to the fullness and the, not lanky, but it felt very loud and legato for it. For most of the choreo not being loud and legato, it's more accented with tension. And there is beauty to have both there, and it looks great here. That was just one thing. It just felt a smidgen too loud in movement for my personal preference on when I hear a bell like that. I think accented with tension, just to match what they're doing. But that's a choreography different preference on that, and they may have wanted to make it really big and distinct in unison, and it's still impressive that they got everybody on the same page on how they accented it too. That's cool. Then it goes, oh my. Because I'll also tell you this, if they went subtle to tension and then they went, oh my, that would have been a bigger contrast, and I think I would have appreciated that section a smidgen more because there was more contrast between the bell sound and the oh my in the movement, because you notice they're very similar. So it's probably a mix of what I just said earlier and what I just said here, but once again, that's a personal preference and an observation. That's not necessarily they should have changed it. Who cares? Like, this is cool. I love the fact they hit it. Then I like this here, that boom, da-doom, doom, different rhythmic pattern in the back. I really like it. It feels, I'm not even going to say, I don't think it's Latin per se. It feels like we've dived into a subtle, like a subconscious different, like party culture, just a smidge in the ding, 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 ding. You know, like we're on a vacation in our mind. It kind of feels like that. And they reflect it in more fullness in the movement. Their chest rotations match what they do earlier, but they're not as tense. It feels more, we're going high and low to go doom, doom, doom to match our track. The punch through, boom, boom, I like that. And we take it through. I like the little tap, tap from my girl, my Miss Soyeon right there. A punch, boom, and then they take it and they expand it around. I do think this move could always be a smidgen bigger. It does remind me of, there was a track, it's Mason, I think, by Dreamcatcher. And there's a particular thing that they do with like the drag down in the chorus. They do not use their legs for that. And I wish they did, because the fullness of what could be contributed to that movement could be tenfold. And ended up doing a just take of it too, and I explained that in my description and saying I added legs because that's how I felt based on the track and the movement quality, how that movement could have definitely been elevated in that choreo. And so I would extend the same thing here. I do think using their legs a little bit more fully in this moment would definitely build it to that really climactic place that they're aiming for. But I think they're doing a good job. One take, almost 3 minutes in, it looks great. Like, they're doing a fantastic job. The sky, and I know the accent I think is more on the hips and the legs there. It's just because it feels just a smidgen muted for a dance break finale kind of vibe. But I like how Soyeon hit that boom 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 with the throw. That was a nice moment. The little oh my, I like how they branched it up, swinging it through, boom up, and then I like the fact our dancers are still kind of in the back, but they're now angling more to the outside, which frames similarly to how they did in the beginning, but it's reversed. I think that's cool. Bring it up, tap, 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 really nice. And then you have your member feature. You know, I really like her feature. She's very captivating. Fantastic job. I think that's Subin, right? I think that's Subin. She just has blonde hair, so it threw me off. We can't trust hair, right? I like the slide back in near the end, and this beginning is super cool. And having the dancers look all the way down and our members look up, but everybody matching is really cool. Da 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 da, we bleed it up. Then we bring it, flip it. It's subtle. Just the simplistic flip definitely helps, like, add like a comma to the phrase where we go up, and then we flip it, really cool. And then they continue with the motion there, and they go up, dun, da, da. And I like, once again, having your feature bleed that arm up, everybody else matching that energy too. Dun, dun, dun. That was fun. I love kind of just the throw, like it kind of feels like we're defeated a smidge. And we go around, dun, 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 dun. And we finish near the tail end. Super freaking cool. I like this one a lot because it does kind of feel similar on brands. What is it, Sucker Punch? I'm not saying it's like the same niche of like storyline by any means, but it does, like how they structured it feels similar to kind of the character of, like, I don't know. It just reminds me of that. I just don't know the best way to explain why in this current moment. It could be storyline of like somebody who's in a mental hospital, but it's like you're left to your own devices or you're being controlled, and it kind of has this like action-packed movie situation, and at the tail end you see that her like brain got reset. So it kind of feels like that to me, because the tail ends of the track kind of feel like, here's where I am right now, and I'm still there. It kind of feels like that, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, we tried. Like, we tried, and we failed. Like, it's kind of what it felt like, but not in the choreography. I'm talking about the concept. I'm saying this was a huge success in the terms of commitment. I love it. This was super cool. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch. If you want to see more of I-DLE, I should have it on YouTube and on Patreon. I will always have more on Patreon, and how a marathon works for me is as a group has a comeback, whether it's a solo work or a group work, I release a certain number of older reactions of said group into the World Wide Web of YouTube, but all of it is bingeable and easy and ready to watch with no ads or anything of the like on Patreon, and it's there for great discussions. If you're somebody who likes to type a lot and commentate a lot, that's a really good place to really have that time and room to share with like-minded individuals who also probably vibe very similarly to you. So if that sounds fun, it's there. If not, I'll see you on YouTube as well. Once again, my name is Jess, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.